Hey, happy Tuesday. We made it. This used to actually be one of my favorite days of the week. It was always new release DVD and Blu ray day. Doesn't mean quite the same thing anymore. Um, I did want to address something real quick after I posted the last video, which was a reading from Honor Unbound. Some people had messaged me privately and said, "Oh my God, are you okay? Are you sick?" No, no, I'm not sick. I'm not COVID positive. I just couldn't get in to see my hairstylist for a while. I was massively overdue, and I did what many other gay men are doing right now, and I went a little Britney. So yeah, it's it's really short, and I found out the hard way just how receding my receding hairline has become. Something my stylist has wisely never told me. So that's a conversation we're going to have in the future. Why a Tuesday video? Well, today it marks the second anniversary, the passing of a very, very good friend. Those are never happy times. Some of you who have been friends with us for a while know about her. Her name was Marianne Labahn. She passed April 7th, 2018. Uh, she was kind of a huge part of our lives. And I was asked at the time if I would give a little eulogy. Ralph and I were both pallbearers. And the thing is, nobody ever records these events for obvious reasons. Who would want to? But I did have a lot of notes, and I thought I would share some of them with you today. Kind of share a little bit about her. When you clicked on this video, there was a picture. Should have been a picture up there. It was from a birthday of mine. Oh God, I don't even know how many years back it was prior to her even passing. I want to say 3, 4, 5 years maybe. Um, it was in Chicago where she lived, and you'll see the gifts that she gave me. But there was a cup or a mug. It was this one right there that's in the picture, and I still have this today. So usually, whenever I see it sitting in the cupboard, I think of her. And I happened to see it recently. I thought I really should record my thoughts about her because she was lovely. So this is what I shared at her funeral. I understand that there's an inclination to stand up and for you to expect me to search my memory for heartbreaking, warm, mushy stories about Marianne. Uh, she would kick me from here until kingdom come if I did that. So I won't. But I will tell you what immediately comes to mind. Uh, I met Marianne when she worked with my husband Ralph back in 1997, I think. I admit I was a little scared of her. Marianne tended to be a bit, this is my opinion, and if you don't like it, you can expletive, expletive, expletive. But we bonded over horror novels, horror movies, science fiction films, science fiction TV shows, and oddly enough, some hard rock music. So I stopped being a little scared of her. And then I drove with her, and I learned what it meant to be terrified. One of my earliest memories of Marianne is an evening Ralph and I drove out to meet her at her house, and we met Holly, her Cocker Spaniel, for the first time. Holly saw us and piddled, and we fell in love with her. Which is ironic because I think there are many folks who met Marianne over the years for the first time and they piddled, but they ended up falling in love with her too. Ralph shared the top floor of the house, and I remember being woken up very, very early one morning when Marianne let Holly and Mika, her two dogs, outside. She was yelling, "Holly, Mika, do your duty!" And I looked over at Ralph and I asked, "Is she saying duty or duty?" And I asked Marianne later on if she would clarify what she'd said. I don't remember her shouting expletives at Holly and Mika, and what she suggested to me to go do to myself for asking turns out isn't anatomically possible. I checked. As much fun as Marianne and I had teasing each other, and we did have fun. She had a heart of gold, as big as the sun and just as bright, partially fueled by road rage, and talking to insurance agents on the phone. I'd even go so far as to say she was a cuddly curmudgeon, but she did threaten to come back and haunt me if I ever said that in public, so you didn't hear that from me. Let's be honest, she's going to haunt me anyway. Marianne was in the hospital about a decade ago for pneumonia. I found out, and I sent her flowers. She's since tried her best not to let me know what hospital she was in whenever she was admitted, but this particular time I did know. I sent her the flowers and the card. Uh, the card read, Marianne, constipation is no reason to be in the hospital. Get unplugged soon. Love, Chris and Ralph. Now, completely off topic here, stepping away from this. When I called that order into the florist, the woman was aghast, and she was like, "That's really what you want to say?" Yeah, yeah, I do. She says, "Do you want me to include a black balloon with it?" Yeah, do you have them? No, she says, and she's completely just couldn't believe what this disgusting person was on the phone that was for wanting to say that in the card, but she did get it. Anyway, I sent it to her. I got home from work and got a phone call. So I picked up the phone. I'm like, hello? And I hear, you son of a bitch. I'm sorry, who's this? You know damn well who this is. Diva! That was my nickname for her. I used to really piss her off. Um, I had to hide the card. Why? Because every doctor and nurse who comes in here thinks I'm constipated. They didn't think she had pneumonia. They saw the card and just automatically thought constipation. So not one of my finer moments, but funny one. Um, I do remember Marianne being an incredible cook, an incredible supporter of anything Ralph or I ever did, and supportive of her family, no matter how much yelling or sarcasm might be involved. And believe me, there was both. Marianne told me many times in the last 6 months that only the good die young. And I think the first card I sent her when she got to rehab, I told her the good may die young, but the best ones stick around a while longer. She did. And when she was ready to leave, she did, just like she said she would. And she told me if any of us didn't like it, well, we could expletive, expletive, expletive. And it's still not anatomically possible. So that was my eulogy to her. And the next day when we came back and Ralph and I were the pallbearers, we were standing outside the viewing room with the other pallbearers. We were having a little cry about missing her. And there was this little clock on the wall, ones that usually chime about 50 or half hour after, and then on the hour. This was on the 10, and out of nowhere, as we were standing next to it, it chimed. And we were looking at it like, why is this thing chiming on an off time? Thought, well, maybe that was just Marianne. Maybe she was saying it's okay. I'm okay. I like that. And as it said, art sometimes imitates life. Those of you who read the first Falling Awake novel, the very final chapter takes place in Rolling Meadows, Illinois, which is where Marianne lived, where I spent many, many weekends. And then the third Falling Awake book, which has not been released yet, the character of Amanda mentions looking for a medical tech who's good with children, someone named Marianne, and then she's talking to mentions Laban, so that was in there for her too. And the street the three main characters live on is Eagle Lane, which is the street Marianne lived on. And I think it was just my way of honoring her and keeping part of her spirit alive, even in the confines of fiction. So she was wonderful, truly, and she's missed, continues to be missed. So I thought, why not just kind of share my thoughts on this as a memorial to her and also a hug to her sister Sharon, all the nieces and nephews and family members who are still there and who miss her too. So uh, it's just a nice way of saying thank you to her as well. Anyway, hope you guys have a good week so far. I'll see you the next time.